Jim Jones is a hip-hop icon, television star, entrepreneur, entertainment mogul, and owner of SauceyExtracts.com. The Richmond Rough Riders AFL football team, 54th VL Mobile Communications Service, Vampire Life Clothing, and the Vamp Berry Beverage brand. Hear directly from Jim Jones about how celebrity branding and network building can help position developing cannabis brands within the marketplace. Please welcome our moderator, Fred Polsinelli, founder and CEO of Polsinelli Public Affairs. Our panelists, Jim Jones, co-founder of Saucey Farms and Extracts, and Alex Todd, co-founder of Saucey Farms and Extracts. Thank you.
So many bright lights.
How you guys doing, all right?
Pretty good, pretty
Okay.
good.
All right, we're going to get started, everybody. We're going to have a nice conversation up here and maybe a little Q&A after if anybody has some thoughts. So I'm going to start with Jim. Guys, how is marketing a cannabis brand any different than marketing a mainstream business?
Marketing for any business is one of the most important components you can have to propel the business. I mean, if you try to build the business, you have to give people something they want to buy. And to do that, you got to be able to market and promote and create something that people can buy into, or people that want to intrigue people that want to know more about your brand.
What do you think, Alex? You spend a lot of time in mainstream business.
Yeah, I think you want to use the same components that you use for any other business, but then you have all these other restrictions with the taxes and the 280E. So it's obviously a lot different. So there's other components. You have to worry about your marketing budgets because some of the stuff you can't write off because of the tax reasons. So there's a lot of things to think of. But in general, marketing and creating a brand, no matter what industry you're moving into, it's marketing and creating a brand. So that's really what it comes down to.
Marketing is marketing at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
So how would you say a brand could stay relevant in an ever-evolving cannabis market that's changing on a regular basis? Every state has a different rule and regulation. How do you stay relevant with your branding?
In any business, the goal is to make sure you stay relevant so your business can maintain. But there's a lot of ways. You always want to try to stay a step ahead of the game. When it comes to anything in music, you always try to create new sounds so that you won't get caught up in the old music you was doing and give the fans something new that they could gravitate to. So when it comes to anything else, it's pretty much the same formula. Even with the weed, I mean, the weed business is a very big thing, so there's a lot of different areas you could tap into to reinvent yourself or reinvent your brand to keep the brand going.
That's interesting. So you guys are both extremely creative people. You know, tell us a little bit about your process when looking to develop a brand. When you guys sit down with the whiteboard on the wall, what's your process to get in the right frame of mind to develop that strategy that's unique to the market?
Well, we was creating a saucy tray the other day. Well, a weed tray. It consists of us smoking a lot of saucy to get creative first. But just sitting in a room and be able to have people that you can bounce ideas off of and nobody's bumping heads, that tends to be a problem if you don't have people that agree per se. But me and Alex got a great relationship, so when it comes to putting ideas out there, he can grab that idea, add some more ideas to it, and then other people in the office come and add ideas to it. So we created a tray. The tray has Bluetooth speaker capabilities, charger, ashtray. Like, we created like a super tray, and we sat there and kind of did that. Maybe 2 hours we sat down at the table at the facility and kind of put it together. So now we're going for production. So the process is, for me, is just to be able to have somebody that understands what we're trying to do and can add to the idea and the creativity, and not just yes, yes, yes.
Absolutely. Would you say that's true, Alex? I mean, is that similar to what it was like back in the jewelry business and other endeavors you've been involved in?
I think you got to let the creative people be creative, right? So everyone has some type of built-in genius inside of them, and I think what makes a good CEO or someone that can bring that genius out of the person, because everyone has some level of amazingness in them. It's about getting that amazingness out of them. So a guy like him that's been creative, that's been doing music videos, creating rhymes, and been doing all these amazing things, designing, kind of want to let him do his thing, right? And just like kind of be able to support his vision and tweak it if I see you might like something a little bit different, and there's like 5 other smart, great people that we can bounce ideas off a room, you're in a great shape.
Yeah, definitely. Let the creativity run wild and funnel it into an
And
actual
going
strategy.
back to what you said before about creating following and creating with the brand, I think it's really important for people to really attach to something and feel like they're part of something when you're creating a brand. So it doesn't matter if there's some new technology or something that comes out that's hot. If you have the people attached to something and feel like they're part of something when they're buying Saucey or whatever it is that they're buying, they'll always come back to you because they feel like they're part of something. It's not just, oh, we have this technology or that technology. People are part of it, and just like any other brand, when you go into a supermarket and you pick up, I don't know, for example, ketchup, most of the time you're going to pick up Heinz subconsciously, not even knowing you're picking up Heinz, and it just you just relate to it, just like any other brand.
Exactly. It's more than just making a nice graphic and slapping it on a bottle. You got to make the people feel like they have
And it
skin
all
in the
comes down
game.
to quality also. That's where it starts from. I mean, you can have very nice packaging, and you can look as great as you want, and you can have, the greatest people marketing, and at the end of the day, if people are going to try it, if it's not good, they're not coming back, right?
Right. Yeah, you'll get them there once, but they'll never come back.
Absolutely.
So talk to us a little bit about strategic partnerships and alliances. Companies out there that they may not be that well funded, or they have limitations. They're looking to align with other groups to bolster their position. So how important are these strategic partnerships, and how do you guys go about identifying the right organizations to be a part of?
Collabs are always great for a company if the collab matches. Like you have these clothing brands that, like I seen the other day, they had Helly Hansen and Puma coming together doing a collab with a sneaker and I guess some outerwear, sportswear. So in the weed business, there are other brands and there are other type of weeds, and some people have some strands, and to build a collab or a marriage sometimes will help propel your brand as opposed to separating. So to be unselfish sometimes within your marketing strategy is going to help a whole lot, because if you could tap into another brand's fan base or another brand's clientele, that's going to bring more to your clientele. So it's great to kind of build those marriages sometimes.
Yeah, it's smart. So Jim, I mean, what are some of the lessons you learned specifically within the music industry over the years that have helped you now sort of guide your way along within the cannabis industry?
The music business is one of the few business you could create jobs out of nowhere, and creativity is one of the best attributes you can have while you're doing music. And to jump into the marijuana business, music and weed are synonymous. They're like one. Like you can't have one without the other. From the process of making the music to it just marries. So it's just like switching from the music to the weed and putting all the marketing strategies behind the weed brand, and then adding artists from the culture to the weed. Like when you start to mix hip hop music or the music genre or entertainers period with the weed brand, it takes it to another level when you have somebody that the people could trust and somebody that can validate what they're smoking. The brand is a good brand, and then you have the people starting to buy into it because, per se, a Snoop Dogg, 9 times out of 10, if Snoop says he's smoking some weed, you're gonna be like, that got to be the bomb. You know what I mean? Same with a Wiz Khalifa, same with a Jim Jones. So you start putting these artists next to some of these brands, and not even weed brands, any brand within making money or in business, it takes it to another level because of how great the culture is with marketing and promoting from across the board.
That's amazing. Alex, what do you think? I mean,
Yeah,
you spend a lot of time in the music industry.
I mean, hip hop and just the culture in general, I think right now runs the world. I mean, it's the largest demographic. It's what everyone's listening to. It's what what we grew up on. And I think when it first started, no one could imagine how big it is. But we're talking about a multi-billion-dollar industry, whether it's music, whether it's clothing, whether it's now marijuana, whether it's, it's unbelievable how many verticals have came from music, and it all really starts from music. And I tell Jim all the time, like, music's great, but where you take what you get and the verticals that you propel from the music is where you're really gonna make the money.
Yeah, like what I would say right now, Burner and Cookies, he's kind of found his own lane as mixing weed with the music and building a hell of a brand by using the music to push the weed brand. And that's one of the best examples we have within the industry right now. He did something that's proven like it can go. So now, other brands can kind of take a little bits and pieces of what he's done and add their own spice to it. And that's a good blueprint to follow if you haven't been in the music industry or have never marketed from a music industry point of view. You could look at what he's done a bit and kind of understand how it works to build that marriage. And the same thing that we do with Saucey, but he was there before, so he's had a little bit of a blueprint that's good to watch within this weed industry.
Yeah. So I mean, you guys see it all. You know who's doing what. For the most part, what are some marketing strategies that you've seen that have caught your eye? Not necessarily tied to music or influencers, just companies who have got a really creative strategy and they've got the ability to implement it.
As far as weed companies,
yeah, as far as cannabis companies, medical or rec, who's doing it right?
I mean, if you're looking just from an outside perspective, not from like the culture and just like cannabis companies in general, I think you have to take your cap off to like companies like Doses, which are, just a vaporizer that looks like a tampon, and everybody loves them, and they vibrate. I don't know. Maybe there's something more to it that we don't know. But it seems like they're pretty popular amongst ladies. I don't know why, but they're doing a really good job with their marketing and their branding. And every dispensary that you walk into, you see Dosis and you see them. And I think there's several companies like them that have done a really good job marketing to the masses. And I think there's a lane for that, just like there's a lane for what we do. And I think there's several lanes in the cannabis industry. And 100%. I don't think you need to be focused on trying to get everyone, because that's never going to work. But if you focus on who your demographic is and who you believe you can basically connect to, I think that's the goal.
Yeah, I would say it's similar to the music business. You have your major labels like Def Jam and Warner Brothers, and then you have your independent labels that's a little bit smaller. So as he's saying Doses, I would think about how the dude LB from Runts is marketing from a lower level and getting everybody from the street level attention as far as the rappers and everything. And he's really implemented a name Runts within the hip hop community, and now turns over. He has to have a legal business within the marijuana industry and things like that. So it was a lot of companies from the mud all the way to the higher ups and stuff like that that's out here kicking ass. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so that's like going from super corporate
Yep.
to the streets of like so it really doesn't matter. You could be Fortune 500 company, or you can be someone that comes from the projects
And make the
Brooklyn,
same impact.
Harlem. It doesn't make a difference. If you have the goal, if you have the motivation, if you have the drive, anyone could do it. It's just about putting in that hard work. It's open for everyone.
Yep. Creativity is everything.
In a lot of ways, it's an even playing field because it's a brand new industry.
Absolutely. I mean, it's really not even, because it takes a lot of money to get involved in this industry, and the level of entry depending on where you're trying to get into. So it's not really even, I wouldn't say, but if you have the right determination, you have the right grind, anyone can do it.
For sure. So what are some other ways that celebrities and influencers can use their public platform to bring new positive awareness to emerging brands, other than putting a social media post out and things like that? Like, what else do you guys do to draw really positive awareness around what you're doing?
I mean, for us, I think the reform is really important. People that have been arrested in this industry, people that have been in the front lines for the last 20, 30 years, that have been to jail numerous times, been arrested. Some of my friends are still in jail over this stuff. I think reform is really important for us. I think creating jobs is really important for us.
Very important.
I think the tax money going towards education is really important for us. I think just the medicine, getting the medicine out there for people from kids that need it because they have, all different types of diseases that it helps them with, to the grandparents, to people that just want to hang out at home. And I just think everything that we're doing is super positive. I don't see any negatives at all in this industry at all. I mean, there's tobacco, there's so many disgusting things out there that people our cereal that our kids are eating. If you look at what they put inside our kids' cereal, I mean, why don't they start looking at that? it's causing more cancer and causing God knows what. But they're focused on things that are gonna impact other industries, pharmaceuticals, the beverage industry. So to us, I don't see any negatives at all in what we're doing, only positives.
Makes sense.
I think he summed it up. But you know, to be able to create jobs for people is very big from where we from, because it's hard to get a job where we from. They don't give us any jobs. So for us to have a company that has a chance to grow to Lord knows how big, and for where we started and jobs that we already created for people, it just feels good. And then the flip side is the medical benefits. I always looked at a bonus of what marijuana can actually do for the human body as far as helping it, and it's great to just be a part of that. But to offer people jobs is one of the greatest attributes for me. Like, you know, we came up hard, so to be in a position to help people's family is dope.
Yeah, no question about it. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the science is the science of the impact on the cannabinoid system. I mean, you can't argue with the medical benefits. So, I mean, you know, let's say...
Science, when you say science, like this is sidebar. I've never seen so much science since I left school in my life, but when it comes to the marijuana business, like walking through some of these facilities and even our own facility and understanding how some of the extracts from making flour into an oil, like it just is amazing on how they're trying to clone flowers in different ways to
Tissue culture,
Yeah.
everything that's happening right now, the technology that's involved is unbelievable. And we were just having this conversation actually yesterday with Adam from MedMan, and we were just sitting in a room and discussing, like, let me ask you a question, like, where do you go to now? Do you go to a guy that's been growing for 20, 30 years? Or do you go to that kid that's straight out of college, that's been studying flowers and knows the latest tissue culture and technology? And we were kind of going back and forth, and like, maybe you need both of them. Maybe you need the grower that's been doing it for 20 years, and you need the person that maybe can help that grower, maybe you can bring those two together and hybrid those things, and maybe that's how you make it successful. Because I'm looking at some of these companies, some of these billion-dollar companies, and you look at some of their crops, and you look at some of the product that they're producing, and in all reality, I'm not trying to, shit on anyone, excuse my language, but, they're putting out a subpar product. And, there's, and that's one of the reasons why they're really not successful. They put these, $5, $10, $20 million big buildings together, and the reality is, no matter what comes out of that building has to go into the product. Otherwise, their business model doesn't work.
It's still the earth. It's farm. You still got to farm to make the best product. Back to the essence of it, smoking weed to get high. You want to smoke the best weed, right? And when I first started coming to Cali, when Snoop was like, "Oh, I'm smoking the chronic," they didn't have the chronic in New York, so you came to Cali and finally got the taste of the chronic, and you start to understand. But those came from people that were really out there growing it, feeding the soil and giving love to the plants and things like that. So what Alex said is, I think really needs to happen to start to build a marriage between the farmers and the scientific factor of the weed, and I think it can maximize everything we're going, because good weed is good weed. That's always been the number one thing to have when you have a weed company. You have to have the bomb weed, no matter what.
Like any product, right? It's got to be quality.
Got to be bomb.
It's the same thing. I mean, he's trying to tell me, like, yeah, you can just pick a farmer that's been farming tomatoes or blueberries for 20 years. And I'm like, honestly, that doesn't work for us.
No.
I mean, even the strains, you have strains that OG and sours grow different than a Blue Dream. And if you don't have the right grower, these plants are so finicky. So no, I don't want somebody that's growing tomatoes for the last 20 years to be growing my cannabis. I want the guy that's been growing cannabis for the last 20 years to be growing my cannabis. The same way I wouldn't go to a foot specialist to do a brain surgery on myself. And I just think that a lot of these companies, they think that they can get someone that's out of school, that just knows a lot about botany, and they know great about plants, which is great. It could be very helpful for a company, but I think you still need the hardcore guys that can look at a plant and, like, 2 weeks before there's a problem, can see that that's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
That no doctor, botanist, or whatever you want to call them can really identify.
Exactly.
It's just about experience.
And that all leads to more jobs, which the more jobs that are created, the more leverage the industry has.
Exactly. The more we can maximize what we're doing here, the more jobs that we have to offer people to pick up the demand.
Absolutely, yeah, because for the first time, the United States is putting people to work who are used to growing cannabis in their dorm room or growing up, something that they've had to hide forever.
Fastest job growing
So
industry
it's
in the
jobs
world.
all across the board, from going to college to learn about growing weed, from the farming aspect, from the packaging aspect to the facility aspect, and the facility needs to be clean, so janitors need to be hired. So it's so many layers of jobs that we can offer the more that we maximize our brand.
So where can people go to access the kind of information they need to determine what kind of job they'd want in the industry? You know they want to work in cannabis, but everybody wants a dispensary on Fifth Avenue or in downtown LA. So where would you steer a young entrepreneur?
Just to be if you have the chance to be a part of the marijuana business right now, I would suggest you to jump in wherever you can jump in. You know what I mean? I was lucky to be able to meet Alex and be able to get in a good position at it, but it's so big, and like we said, there's so many levels that now is the time to get in. Like, this will probably be the biggest money that the world has seen, or America has seen, since the dot-com. Before that, I guess it was the gold rush and things like that. So there's going to be so much money floating around that I would suggest everybody who has a chance or smokes weed, want to know about it, to try to find out more information about it so that they can infuse themselves some way, somehow inside of this marijuana industry.
Yeah, they got to figure out where their own individual access points are.
See what you're good at, right? So, I mean, if you're good at marketing, guess what? Look how many companies here need marketing. Look how many brands need someone to do marketing. If you're good at packaging and you're created at packaging, look how many companies need packaging. And there's so many verticals in this industry, from lights to shovels to dirt to literally, I mean, I can keep a laundry list of things. And just figure out what you think, what you're good at, what your niche is, and try to hit that thing really hard and find it, because there's so much space for everyone in this industry. As you can see, this full convention, all different products, all different ranges. So much opportunity. Just find what you're good at. I would give the recommendation and try to take full advantage of it. And like anything else, man, just work hard. Hard work is better than talent. Nothing beats hard work. If you want to be successful, you just got to work. It really suffer, and my family suffers. I'm traveling a lot, and that's the way it works. If you want to be good at something, you got to sacrifice.
You really got to outwork everybody. And you're right, that's great advice, because people need access. It's not always about what somebody wants, it's about what's practical. Where's your avenue in? Where's
Jay
your
always
way
says
in?
that they only see the end result, and everyone wants to emulate the end result. They want to emulate what's on Instagram. They don't see the hard work that goes into it. They didn't see Kobe in the gym 10 hours a day, working on his jump shot, and that's the stuff that's what makes you great, the stuff that people don't see. Instagram's great, it looks great, everyone's Instagram looks great, but what they're doing behind the Instagram, the trenches, sitting there, the long hours, being away from the family, working, that's what really is going to make the difference in your brand.
If you're not willing to work nonstop, don't even bother.
Yeah, I guess, or spend a lot of money on people that will do it for you, right?
Exactly. So let's say there's a company out there, they want to partner with a celebrity. Everybody wants to partner with a celebrity. Not everybody knows what that means, but let's say it's a startup, they don't have a lot of money, they need a new influencer. How could that company go about identifying the right individual? Because not every celebrity, you can't just attach a name to any company, of course. So how do they find the right person? And then almost more importantly, how do they get access to that person to pitch their deal?
Access is a whole nother thing than assessing a celebrity that you feel can help your brand. There's a lot of celebrities out there. There's a lot of famous celebrities out there. There's a lot of rich celebrities out there. There's not a lot of celebrities who make an impact, who is a leader. You know what I mean? Like somebody that the people follow and trust what they're selling. So you have to figure out which one of these celebrities actually can impact your brand to make you some money. And that's one of the most important things I would say. Like in our industry, everybody wears the same clothes, but it's only a few people that stand out that you will say, oh, he looks good, I want to go buy that he had on. Meanwhile, it could be 5 other rappers in the same room that had the same thing on. But this person sticks out for some reason, and that's the person that the people gravitate to. And naturally, you want to have somebody like that to put next to your brand so they can help your weed brand. So in this industry, in our industry, there's a few people that known for smoking weed and are known for smoking good weed, or you would trust him for what he's smoking and things like that. And I would say that's how we gauge a little bit of the people that we want to add to our brand besides the Jim Jones. So we're going to we're in the midst of doing a Saucey compilation album. So we would sit down and we picked about 20 artists on a wish list that we think could add to the album and add to the brand and make this album a success, that make the kids want to get into what the Saucey, well, not the kids, make the people want to get into this whole Saucey brand. So that's just one of the things that we're doing with the reach we have within our culture and helps our brand within the weed industry.
I mean, that's pretty brilliant. So that's a good example of tying music industry right into cannabis.
Yes.
Haven't heard anything like that before. What do you think, Alex? I mean, it's
Yeah,
impossible to access people you don't know.
It's
how to
hard
do
to
it.
access these type of people in all reality, right? So it's got to make sense for them too. It's like, okay, yeah, I want Madonna to be right now here and smoking a joint, but what am I going to do for Madonna, right? Or Rihanna or whoever it is, right? So there's got to be a give and a take. What are you going to do for that person that you're trying to get, right? How can you entice them, or how can you do something different for them that it's got to be give and take, right? So it can't be, okay, cool, I want, whoever it is to come endorse. Everyone wants that, but what are you able to do for them? How are you different? And then again, when choosing this person and getting access to that person is a whole nother level. I don't know how a regular person from this convention would be able to get access to Jay-Z. It's not easy, obviously, but the thing is that when you have something special, these people come to you, right? So the key is, if you build something special, a lot of these people will come to you and they'll find you. And then it's going to come down to what you can do for them and how it's going to work beneficial mutually for my company and for the person that you have involved. And then you have to have the right person that can actually move the needle, that will actually show up to events like this. They'll actually go to places. They'll actually do the type of work, not just be like, put his name behind something. It's cool, but you still got to work it. You still got to feel it. You got to touch the people. You got to come out, and people got to feel some type of authenticity about it. If it doesn't feel authentic, then no one's going to really believe in it, right? Then it's just a money grab, right?
Right. You can't just slap a label on something. You got to spend time
It's got to be
understanding what
authentic.
motivates
People know
people.
he's been smoking ever since they've seen him on TV. Every single record that he's on, anything that you see Jim, he's got a blunt or he's got something to do with the weed. So most likely, when you see Jim, you affiliate him with smoking, and everybody knows rappers smoke the best weed, right? I mean, it's just facts. I mean, they're not going to pull out some garbage weed. Rappers smoke good weed. They won't even touch weed that's not. And people like us that have been smoking for 25 years, we don't want to smoke dirt, right? We want to smoke good weed. So for us, it was very important, just quality control, making sure we always got stuff that he would want to smoke, stuff that I would want to smoke. And I know if he wants to smoke it and I want to smoke it, then everyone will smoke it. And to us, quality control, most important. And once you have a quality product, once you get the most important thing, then is to get the person to try it, right? Because once they try it and it's quality, they're going to come back. If you don't have a quality product, you can get people to try it, like I said before, but they're not coming back.
Yeah, quality is the foundation of the
It's all about
skyscraper
quality.
you're building.
It's all about building a quality product first and foremost. And
for us.
For us, anyway, and that's been our mark, and most important thing, our thesis on our company is just about quality and just maintaining the most top line. We only use indoor flower, which we catch some heat for that, from the organics and the wonders of the world. But to us, the controlled environment and just knowing that keeping the plants clean and without bug free, and just to us, the best quality product comes from indoor facilities.
Yeah, I mean, it's controlled. I mean, everything comes with quality. I think every company here would agree that they need to figure out how to have the best quality, the best practices behind their method.
I think that's the most important thing.
No question about it. So, Jim, tell the audience, at what point did you realize that you were about to enter the regulated cannabis space for the first time?
Just being in the right place at the right time. I walked in the office. My man OG Juan up at Rock Nation was one of the bosses, and Alex was there, and they were talking about the weed venture that Alex was getting ready to start, and OG was like, "It's perfect." He just walked in. We need to get Jim involved, and it happened just like that. And that was, I would say, 3 years ago, and now we up about 5 months running, actually being in stores, and we on upwards of 100 stores and looking up, and it's been a whole great process from the idea of it to seeing it on paper, to seeing the products in my hands, to actually seeing the products in the store, to actually be able to go buy the products in stores, to now watching how the whole business unfolds, to learning more about weed than I probably would have ever knew from just smoking it. There's so much different layers to the weed business and to the actual plant itself. So I was just happy to be involved with it. I had no thoughts at the time of jumping into the weed business. That wasn't on my mind. I just wanted to smoke good weed. So I'm blessed and I'm thankful to even be here and to have the opportunity to work with my guy Al.
Well, elaborate on that conversation a little bit. Like, what was that moment like when you realized you guys were coming together? I'd imagine light bulbs were going off everywhere. And then what'd you do? Go into a conference room and just drill down on some details, come up with some next steps?
We're pretty easy, man. We're from New York. We sat down, we shook each other's hands, said, let's get to work.
Yeah,
we figure it out on the fly.
Yep.
Honestly, we're just very organic, very natural. We don't sit there with like a bunch of people with suits in a boardroom and like figure all this shit out. We sit there, we shook hands, we figured it out, we told each other what it is, and we said, let's just make this work and let's pop this thing. You know, worry about the money, we'll worry about everything else later. That will come, you know, because when you start worrying about making money and worrying about how much money you're gonna divide, you're never gonna make anything. It's like, let's get this going, let's start it out. It took us a long time to get where we are, just the whole development, licensing and processing and, you know, dealing with China, with our packaging and just all the steps and building out grows and, you know, having bad harvests and dealing with all the bullshit that comes with this industry, excuse my French. And finally we're at a point where, you know, where you think you figured it out, but you never figure it out. Every day is new obstacles. Every day there's new stuff coming up. And you're just kind of working on the grind. And like we said, we sat there, we sat in a room. One of my partners that was already a partner in the business with me, he's like, Jim's perfect fit for us, you know what I'm saying? It was just, he's been smoking all his life. He just started working with Rock Nation again. It was just a perfect fit, and just, I think a lot of things in life, which, you know, it's easy to say, but I just think a lot of things in life happen for a reason, and just naturally you're in the right place at the right time. I think he was at the right place at the right time. I think I was at the right place at the right time, and it just organically happens. And I just believe in life that just you need a little bit of luck, and you need that right place, right time moment.
Sure, there's a little bit of luck there, but you guys put yourself in the right place at the right time because of how hard you work.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like the Instagram example you used. Everybody sees the picture, but you don't know what goes into making that picture. So you can't start by thinking about how much money you can make. You got to start by thinking, how do we build a great brand, and starting with the best quality and get it out there.
Absolutely.
And it starts with a handshake.
Yep.
You don't hear that enough these days.
Yeah. I mean, we're old school.
Yep, definitely.
Probably
Definitely.
not the smartest way to do business, but
Yeah, but you know, if you're relying on a piece of paper, you're going to run into problems for sure. You got to look somebody in the eye and feel good about it.
100%.
yeah, the paperwork, once you start getting into the paperwork now, we already got to a point where you have to start, obviously, all these contracts. And to me personally, even with my partner right now, once you get these lawyers involved and these accountants, if you rely on lawyers and accountants, I promise you, no deal will ever get done. So you gotta sometimes be
personal.
like, listen, I don't give a what you say. You're my lawyer.
Yes.
You're a lawyer. You're not a businessman. And sometimes you got to put your lawyer in perspective and be like, just do this, this, and that, and that's it. Because a lot of times, if you're going to rely on them, no business will ever get done.
Yeah, there's certainly every consultant will come at it from a different angle. You know, at the end of the day, though, you got to know you're where you want to go, and you got to have the right team around you. Otherwise, no one person can do this on their own.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about social media for a second, because you guys are very successful with your media campaigns and whatnot. How would you go about leveraging social media to build brand awareness and company notoriety, again, other than just posting and things like that? What are some creative strategies you guys look through on social?
Social media, for one, is the quickest form of marketing that you could possibly have for a person, an entertainer, or a person
And the
of
cheapest.
success. Huh?
And the cheapest.
And the cheapest.
And the cheapest, 100%. Definitely the cheapest. I mean, if you have 5 or 6 friends who are successful people, when they have 4 million, 5 million, 6 million, you have a network of damn near 30 million followers with one push of a button. So now you can send some of your closest friends something that you need them to post up about your brand, and in less than 10 minutes, you then reached out to 30 million people. That's not as more people than one network could reach out to in one commercial, and it was for zero amount of dollars. So that's definitely a great thing. Like, you have these big companies who definitely have to pay a lot of money to these successful people to market their brand, and then you have people like myself who's been in the culture and the industry for so long, who have personal friends who are famous out the ass, and we build on doing each other favors and things like that. And that's a priceless form of marketing that these big companies cannot get or cannot do. So this is one of the things that we do with our social media that these big companies can't.
Yeah, strategic partnerships that took you an entire lifetime to build
Yes.
that trust level.
If we didn't have social media, we'd be fucked.
Yeah.
And I think everyone should take that in this room very clearly understand. If you don't have social media, you're gonna be fucked.
It's going to be
So,
very expensive.
You'd be at the mercy of big media companies and
I mean,
like,
you had to spend in the jewelry business back in the days, in the airline business when I was doing private jets, we had to spend so much money on print advertising and magazines, and
Yes.
every magazine was $5,000, $10,000 a month. You needed
Yeah.
to be in 10, 15 magazines, and you're spending abnormal amounts of money, and the ROI was horrible, but you were doing it just to be out there, right? If it wasn't for social media, I mean, we've only been in stores for 4 months, 1 quarter. If it wasn't for social media, nobody would know who we are, right? So to us, the biggest thing is social media. Social media has been probably the biggest driving force for Saucey, and I'll keep plugging that away. Social media is everything, right? Especially in the day and age that we live in. I mean, he can ask for a favor, and 20 million people are gonna know that a new product or a new SKU from Saucey is gonna be coming out in 1 second.
100%.
We don't have to wait for a magazine to print. We don't need for a commercial to run. We don't need to wait for anything. We call Shula. He does some video work for us.
Put it up.
And Jim asked 5 people, and all of a sudden 20 million
So
people
what would you think Diddy, how many followers a person like Diddy got? Called Big Bro, I need you to post this up on your page real quick. Boom, now you got Diddy that's posted you up. You super, super, super lit now. If you get a post from Diddy, you know people are going to engage into what Diddy just posted because he's so much of a mega mogul and things like that. So these are some of the things that we can't put a price on.
no.
At
And you
all.
cut out the middleman. The middleman's gone. The middleman's not
And I
necessarily
think-
a part of your team.
And I think people that don't have the access to like some of the celebrities and everything, there's other ways of engaging. A lot of these huge social companies that cannabis companies actually that have much bigger followings even than us on social on our cannabis page have much bigger followings than us. They have no celebrity affiliations. Again, they figure it out, whether it's SEO, whether it's just a proper post, whether it's just whatever it is they're doing, they're figuring the social media aspect out of it. And those are the guys that are really winning right now. And even if they don't have a great product, their marketing and their social media is what's propelling them to become a
100%.
national brand. And right now, social media is it. It's everything.
And keep in mind, the marijuana business is not just the hip hop business, it's all walks of life. So there's many forms of marketing that you could use to make a shitload of money or to make an impact with your brand. Like you have from just being in the dispensaries with Al, from making all these trips and things like that. I've seen old people, young people, black people, white people, Chinese people,
Mothers
crippled
and sons.
people with ailments, mothers and sons, pretty ladies, working ladies, it's just the whole. So for us, yes, we consider to be a luxury weed brand. We market to our demographic, which is a big demographic, the hip hop culture, but that's just one demographic within the people that smoke weed. You got senior citizen demographic of people that smoke weed. You got all vape people that just want to smoke vapes, like the company he just said. Like, so it's just so many ways of marketing on social media to get your point across without just not worrying about the hip hop market. Like, there's definitely ways you can impact yourself on that broad sea of marketing called the social media.
Definitely. I mean, along those lines, if you don't
And
have
they make
an
it hard too,
influencer-
by the way. They
do.
shut your count, they shut your pages down, they do anything, and they make it hard on us. They don't make it easy. We got our page shut down numerous times. The biggest kick in the butt is when you build up a page of 100,000 followers and then you wake up and the shit is gone, right? It's not fun, right? And I call up Jim and be like, shh. They just shut our page down. For
gotta
what?
figure it
Why?
out.
We don't know. We don't know. They just feel like it. Why? They don't let us bank. They don't let us do Instagram. They're making it so difficult for us, and we don't know what it is why they're making it so difficult for us. All we're doing is bringing a great product to people that need it, and we're just trying to figure out and hoping that eventually Instagram will help and Facebook will help us, do ads and, spend some money with them.
And
We'd
we
love to
build it-
spend
and
some
we
money
build
with
an
them.
awareness.
And they don't want to let us spend money with them. And so you got to be creative in the way that you market on there. But you got to figure it out because that's the future and that's where it's at right now.
But how's somebody going to figure it out if they don't have a celebrity or an influencer and they have a little digital team and they're starting from scratch?
So
I mean, shit, there's a lot of different ways to figure it out digitally without spending a shitload of money. You have people that actually do that come in and help you do that. You have consultants that help you, show you what to actually do on your gram that doesn't cost a shitload of money. You have these IG famous people and comedians on IG. There's a lot of different ways that you can engage using your IG without having to have a shitload of marketing money or connections to different people. You just have to get creative. You have to be witty. You have to be willing to want it. Like he said, our page gets shut down. We figure out another way to get the page back up, or figure out something else that's even better than the page we just had. Like if they shut the door on you and this is your house, you're gonna figure out how to get in. You're gonna go through the window. You're gonna try to climb up the roof. You're gonna figure out a way to get inside of that building. And that's what it is when it comes to marketing. Everybody is not gonna have what we have, so you got to start from somewhere. And if you want it bad enough, it's going to happen for you.
You just got to figure it out. There's no answer. If there was an answer, there wouldn't be a question.
You got to bring the people that it's got to work. Like I said, it's got to be a seesaw. Like you got to bring something to the other person. It's got to work together, right? Like there's got to bring something to the table for him. He's got to bring something to the table for me. So if you're a great farmer and you're not that great in marketing, well, find someone that's great in marketing
100%.
that can market your product. If you're a great marketer and you don't have the access to the farms, well, guess what? There's a lot of farmers out there that have great products. Go market their product for them.
Yep.
So just find what you're good at and use that vertical and try to be successful at it.
Yeah, I mean,
and again, work hard at it.
It's all you got to work hard. You got to work 24/7. It's the way it goes.
It's a great place to build awareness. So this is an industry that, as a brand, I think that we have a responsibility, or all brands have a responsibility to build awareness of what we're building, as far as all the benefits that come from the actual marijuana, instead of just shoving something down a person's throat and sell. You need to explain a little bit more of why they need this product and what it does.
Product knowledge is very important, just like with anything else.
Yep.
If you know your product, and people that have a product, and for their salespeople, the most important thing is knowing your product, knowing the differentiation factors of your product compared to other products. What makes your product different than every other product? There's probably, 5,000 weed brands now, cannabis brands out there. What's the difference between Saucey and all the rest of them? Well, there's a lot of differences. I can explain them all. We don't have time right now because we'll be here for a long time. But with your brand, you gotta be able to explain to people the differences between your brand and the other 3,000 brands out there. Just really quickly, whether it's our extraction method that we use that's proprietary to us, or whether it's the fact that we hand select every single jar of flour that goes in there, or whether it's we guarantee the freshness, or whatever it is that your company does that's different than other companies. If you think you're gonna come into this game and just be like every other 3,000 companies trying to come in here, you guys are gonna get a rude awakening. Yeah, Jim's saying everyone get into the weed business. Yeah, get in. It's you think you're gonna get in and it's free money here. That's the furthest thing from the case. It's a lot of hard work, and you gotta be different. So figure out what your differentiating factor is, or else you're gonna get a rude awakening and realize that it's not as easy as everything seems and looks on Instagram.
Yep. You guys are both New York guys. You've got a great brand going here in California. What are some of the differences you see between West Coast brands and East Coast brands?
Well, eventually we don't want it to be any type of East Coast, West Coast, right? We want it to be nationwide and uniform, and so when people think of Saucey, they don't have to think of it just to California. It's only in California. It's in California now because it was our thinking was, where does the best marijuana, where does the best cannabis products come from in the world?
Sure.
California, right, guys? Yeah. So we figured if we can dominate the California industry and really take what the best products here and then bring them nationwide and hopefully eventually worldwide, that was our thinking. So just like if you're a top designer in Italy, most likely that's going to translate to the whole world. Right. If you have the best wine in Napa Valley, most likely that's going to translate to the whole world. So we figured our thinking is if we can get the best brand in California, we're not there yet, but hopefully that's our goal, and to build to that point of being the best brand in California, or being a top 10 brand or 5 brand, whatever it is in California, we feel like that would be a trickle effect to the whole world.
Definitely. It's interesting because on the East Coast you've got these new medical markets.
And our whole thing was kind of bringing East Coast aesthetic to our look, feel, vibe, dress, packaging, everything, and we bring that and incorporate it with the unbelievable quality products that Cannabis and quality products that California has, and kind of hybrid them together. And that's the look and feel of Saucey.
Yeah, that's a key.
There's so many restrictions. There's so many restrictions on the East Coast that we can't possibly do the things we want to do from the New York perspective when it comes to the cannabis industry that we could do out here in California. So, we kind of behind when it comes to all the laws and all that to California. So we bring our whole flavor out here, and hopefully we'll be able to bring it all the way back to New York once all the regulations and things like that go through.
Yeah, you take the essence of New York and what you've done there and bring it to the brand here.
Absolutely.
Smart. Let's say you have a medical company that's looking to transition into rec. Maybe they start as medical and then the industry goes around them and they realize they need to get in the rec space. That could be a tricky branding situation. What kind of advice would you give a medical operator when they have to now educate a recreational consumer market as opposed to physicians and patients only?
Depends how much money they have. They can buy us.
There you go.
It will help them get there faster. No,
That's
but
right.
in reality, I think that it's really hard. I think if depending on their really financial situation, probably buy a rec company that's already existing instead of trying to recreate it and try to do it on yourself. Because if you're sitting there, if I'm sitting across the room, and I've been sitting a lot with these type of people, and they've never smoked cannabis in their life, they're CEOs, their whole reputation, their whole business life has been boardroom CEOs, very corporate world, and they're sitting there and they're trying to talk to me about cannabis and about stuff that they've never even tried before, and it's very difficult for us to have this conversation. So yeah, I respect you on the business side, I respect you in what you've done in your life on the boardroom side, but this is a different industry. This is different. It's not meat and potatoes. It's not you grow a potato, you sell a potato. It's not that. So you really have to try to establish that connection and really establish again, for us, the quality, which a guy like that, really, he doesn't care. Whatever's grown, put it in the jar. We got to make our quarterly profits. We got to move it. We got to sell it, right? But that doesn't work at the end of the day because people are going to eventually see and try it and taste it and then compare it to others, unless you're in a market where you have no choice. Some markets right now, you're going to get brands that are dominating only because they were first to market, and it's almost like you have no choice because they gobbled up the market share because they were there first, and there's really like very limited licenses, like New York, where there's only 10 licenses, and there's very limited, you can't smoke flower, and it's only vape. So a lot of these companies will grab a large portion of the market share, but once it opens up and then and they get tastes of companies like Saucey, Cookies, Runts, whatever it is your favorite brand is, that's not going to last. That's fake market share.
Mm-hmm. And right now there's no flower in New York, and the state is really relying on vaping. And I mean, given the recent headlines regarding the safety of vaping, how important is it to utilize the top extraction processes and really just market the fact that you use the top extraction processes to the public?
Yeah, I mean, 90% of the companies out there are using regular THC distillate. And, you're smoking THC mixed with some terps. Hopefully they're not cutting it with anything. You hear what's going on in the news. I think it's very important, if you are not like the other 90% of the cannabis companies and you use actual full cannabinoid extraction and you are different than everyone else, you gotta make sure that it's a huge marketing thing, right? So tell people, explain to them how you're different than the other 90% of the cannabis companies out there, that it's not only THC that you're extracting, that you're keeping all the cannabinoids in there, you're keeping the natural terps in there. Explain to people that the majority of the terpenes that people are smoking are just drops of some liquid flavoring. And again, just knowing what you're smoking is very important. Ask the stores for the test results. Ask for results. Be vocal about it. You guys are the consumers. Know what you're smoking. When you go and you make food for yourself, you know what you're putting into your food. Know what you're putting into your bodies. Don't buy carts off the street. I mean, I think you've seen it was big on Instagram. I hope you guys, you've seen yesterday, they did a panel of street carts. I think it was like 6 or 7 different street carts. If you had seen the THC percentages and what's actually in these things, you'd get sick just looking at it. And then they did a comparison to what's actually on the shelves and actually being tested by the Cannabis Bureau and by the people that we spend tons of money testing it. You got to be crazy to jeopardize your life and buy carts off the street. I mean, you don't know what you're smoking. Know what you're smoking. At least if you go into MedMan, if you go into RDC, you go into Skunk Masters, or you go into like a reputable place, you know they've been tested. There's huge amounts of scrutiny, and still, even then, even if some things are tested, it doesn't mean that there's certain materials in those vapes that are legal, but you still shouldn't be smoking, right? So go and actually see what's inside. Ask for test results. Look at the contents of what's in there. The artificial terps, the artificial, terpenes, even the organic terpenes. I mean, unless you're like, for us, it's very important for us. We keep all the actual cannabinoids intact. So our extraction method, we do chromatography. We keep all the actual natural terpenes intact. We actually sometimes burn off the natural terpenes because there's too terpy, so we might make it a little bit less terpy. And the only time that we reintroduce flavoring, any type of flavoring, it's organic. And honestly, the only reason we do it, I hate it, I personally don't enjoy it, it's to satisfy the consumer. Right? So if it was totally up to me, I like the weed flavor carts because there's nothing artificial at all there, nothing. I mean, you want to smoke a cart that tastes like blueberry, then you know what? Smoke it. But me personally, I like to smoke things that taste like weed, that know that it's derived, all the cannabinoids are still in there. You get the full entourage effect, like with some of the sauce pens that are out there. Even though the THC content is lower, you get the terps, you get most of the cannabinoids in there, not getting burned off. And I mean, to me, it's very important, like I said, to explain what people, and it's important for you guys to know what you're actually ingesting. So ask for test results. Know what you're buying, know what you're smoking. It's very important.
Definitely. You mentioned before when we were talking about medical companies transitioning, they could just buy a company. So that brings up the topic of exit strategy. So when you guys first got together and you started mapping out your marketing game plan, did you have your exit strategy in mind, or were you just taking it a step at a time to grow the best brands you could?
I think, honestly, if you start thinking about an exit strategy before you even start, I mean, you're way too, I can't even think about what's gonna happen tomorrow.
Right.
This business is so changing, evolutionary, revolutionary. Every day is something new. If you're thinking about something that you're gonna do, it's like tell God your plans and he's gonna laugh at you. That's pretty much this industry right now, because you can't make long-term plans. Everything's changing every day. All I know, in 6 months from now, or whenever the election is, who knows? Maybe we'll be nationwide. Maybe you can't really make plans in this industry for an exit strategy, and we're just on the shelves for this is our first quarter, 4 months that we're on the shelves. So for us to think about an exit strategy, I don't even want to think about that. I want to think about building my brand, building my everyday wake up and trying to figure out how to make Saucey the best, and then we'll focus on that when it comes. I think it's just got to be organic. I don't think if you're thinking about an exit strategy when you're just starting a brand, I think it's ludicrous. I think you've already lost.
I tend to agree with that, and that goes against the grain for what a lot of your attorneys and others
we all have that big plan, right? Oh, we're going to sell for $20 billion, right, to Canopy Growth. But the reality is, we wake up every morning, we go to work, and we try to figure out how to make Saucey a success.
Yeah, if you build the best possible brand, your exit strategy may come to you.
Absolutely, it will come. To everyone here, it's just if you build something, if you build it, they will come, and it's true. If you build something successful, there's probably 20, 30 different people that came up to us just at this convention asking if we need financing. Do you need money? Can we invest in you guys? And if you build something that's, solid, the people will come. Just like it's all about building that brand, building that reputation. When you have that reputation of having a quality product, people will come.
You're absolutely right. You guys are both pioneers. We really want to thank you for being here. If it's all right, we'll open it up for a few questions, and I'm sure there's people who may want to ask you some other tricks of the trade.
Yep.
Money Train with FutureX TV and HipHopBattle.com. I want to know of your thoughts of being leaders now on the business side to getting legalization pushed in New York and New Jersey. Do you get politicians coming to you or activists asking you guys to step up and be more of a voice to try and negotiate that or make that happen? Just from your own personal experiences.
You have to, could you say that one more time? Do we get people to,
Politicians coming to us. So
Yeah, are they coming to you guys now, I guess, to make New York, California?
to lobby for,
Yes.
lobby for different legalizations
Bills,
and things
yes,
like
and
that?
stuff like that. Are you feeling like now, because you guys are successful business people now, it's not just you're just doing it as celebrities. Do you think you get as a different weight that you guys can put into it for your input?
people still look at us like a kid from Brooklyn and a kid from Harlem at the end of the day. No matter how successful we are, you know, we don't have our college degrees, so people are going to look at us a certain way no matter what. And even though we try to come out of that stigma and come out of that box, he's still a kid from Harlem, I'm still a kid from Brooklyn that didn't finish high school. So I don't even want to be talking to these politicians, to be honest with you. I don't want to be about it. There's other people, there's Normal out here, NORML, you know, they do that, we donate to them, let them deal with the politicians. We try to stay in our lane, man. It's not something that we'd probably be good at, so we don't try to attempt it. Do we think it should be legal everywhere? Absolutely, especially New York, New Jersey. You know, we're from there. I think that would be our biggest market. I think if we had the opportunity to market there and to sell there, we'd absolutely crush it. So for us, we'd love for it to happen, but to see us get dressed up in suits and go there and speak to these politicians, I think it's out of pocket for us, just because it's not what we are. We try to stay in our lane, as I said, you know, like I said before.
Politics is tricky. Shouts to my man Leo Bridgewater. He's probably the most political person I know when it comes to lobbying for
Yeah,
legislation
he does the lobbying for us.
and marijuana laws and things like that. So he's been a big help for us. So, you know, we got people in our corner.
Michael Howard, LA Cannabis News. I really like the idea of your compilation CD, the Saucey compilation. So taking that a step further, is there going to be Saucey Tour or Saucey Fest?
Yeah.
Yes.
And if you're going to have something out in LA, I want to make sure that I'm there. So put me on the VIP list, please.
We totally plan on doing the whole rollout. I mean, the compilation is the beginning of the whole Saucey records that complement the Saucey weed business. We were talking about a fest yesterday, and along with creating a big fest, a big consumption fest where we can have some of the top artists in our industry come perform while people enjoy some good flower and have a great time. And you know, naturally a tour comes along with any album that you put together. So we look forward to I look forward to actually putting this whole compilation together, because this is my field of expertise. This is my first job is doing music. So this should be good.
Yeah, and I think just to reiterate what he said is music is what I grew up on, and how even I have this, you know, me and him can be sitting in the same room together. And I think it brings a lot of people together, just like cannabis, where you can have all different shapes of forms of life all be in one room together, regardless of what their beliefs are, regardless of what they believe, how they believe, and their gender and who they like, women, men, whatever it is. Cannabis brings everyone together. And I think that's one of the main reasons why the government is so hard on it, because they don't want us together. It's been like that since the hippie days. When the hippies came together, they've been smoking. People, they don't want us together for whatever reason it is, whether it's pharmaceutical companies, beverage companies, they're always making it difficult on us. But for us, music is the driving force that keeps us all together. And I think with the album and what we said before, it's not about we're not expecting to make millions of dollars off this compilation album, but what we are expecting to do is give people the experience of, again, being part of something, being part of Saucey Boys. You see the hats, you see the clothing, and just being part of something, and just the way you dress, the way you feel. And for someone to be able to walk into a store and to spend $20 or $30 or $50 or $60 or $100 and to make them feel like they're part of something is big, you know. And you know, there's not too many things where you can go and, you know, in like the world that I came from, the jewelry business, a Rock Nation piece or a piece of jewelry, it's either you had to be gifted to you, and even when it was gifted to you, this is something that costs $15,000, $20,000, and or when you buy a hat from Rock Nation and you feel like you're part of something because you bought that hat. It's more than just buying something to get you high. It's about feeling the vibe and being part of something. And the music, going back to the music, for us, it's more about promoting and just really getting people on that vibe and getting the music out there and putting together some of the best acts, some of the stuff that I love. I grew up on hip hop. I grew up on music, on Dipset and Biggie and Jay, and that's just where my thing comes from. So I love that, and I love music, and I love listening to music, and I'm probably his biggest critic. I'd be like, oh, that shit's great, or whenever the new song comes out, or whatever it is. So we love music. It's a big part of Saucey.
Nice story, guys. My name's Alan Stone with Wall Street Research. Would you guys have any interest in going public at some point and listing on the NASDAQ?
So it's a good question. I mean, like he said about an exit strategy, we're not thinking that far. You know, I think if we think that far, we've already lost. A lot of companies have come to us, like a lot of these small underwriters and people in Canada, let's go public, let's back you up into a shell. And I just don't believe like this is organic. You know, we want to build we don't want to put the carriage in front of the horse. And we want to build a brand first. We're 4 months into the game. I think we'd be fooling people like a lot of these other cannabis companies for us to go public right now. And we can do that and make it look really pretty and put all these great packaging and dress it all up and put lipstick on a pig, but I don't think that we're ready yet. But maybe in a couple of years, once we really had a real opportunity to have our ramp up period and really get nationwide and maybe go into, once we're in a couple of different states and really give Saucey a chance for success. Because going public, it's one thing, but being public being successful once you're public is a completely other animal. So you need that drive. And I think unless we get to that point, I think just going public, it won't be successful. So if we ever do go public, we want to make sure that we're successful at it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How you guys doing? Peter. Sorry.
Yeah, 2 more if that's okay.
How you doing? Peter Francis. I'm actually from New Jersey as well, up in Bergen County. Do you guys have any plans? I know you're very new and you said you don't want to go too far deep into things, but do you have any plans to do a franchise model or to white label your products to others so they could use the proprietary extraction process and put their own, label on the end of it?
That's a completely different business model. I mean, we're a brand first, right? So will we license our name out to other states and to other people? I mean, that all depends on how much control we actually have of it. I'm not going to let someone take Saucey and do whatever they want with it, right? So if we have the control and we set up the right operating and the right POS and the right operating standards and we build out the control factor and we are making sure the quality control there, then then possibly it's an opportunity. It's just that all becomes a business deal. So it's just a matter of dollars and cents at that point. But as long as we maintain the control and the quality control and the aesthetic look of it, then it's a possibility. But just to lend our name to somebody and let them do free reigns and make keychains and devices or whatever they want with it, that's not something that we would do.
It would be like McDonald's instead of each individual owner.
Exactly.
Right.
And it's very important for us. It's good that you brought up McDonald's. It's important for us that when you go to McDonald's in New Jersey, the Big Mac tastes the same as it does in California. So for us with Saucey, it's very important for us that when you get a cart or you get flour in California, we wanted to at least try to mimic it and at least do our best for it to taste exactly the same in Florida or whatever other state it is. The problem with that is obviously with the you can't cross the border. So with oil, it's a little bit easier. With the flour, it's a little bit more difficult. But we're trying to come up with a solution where all of our products taste the same no matter where you buy them and they're uniform.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Jose Gomez with Amazing Healing. Work for Wayne. I want to know how somebody like myself, I'm from the streets of Los Angeles. I grew up here. I didn't graduate, but I'm successful in what I do. Recently started working with, like I said, Amazing Healing. How can I reach out to you guys and present my product and work with you guys?
I mean, the easiest way is places like this, right? I mean, Jim goes around to these conventions. I'm usually there. We don't go to too many of these things, but we were invited by the great people here, and so you find out places like this. Jim hangs out at the booth. I'm at the booth all the time. Just come up to us, man. We're accessible. I think one of the coolest things about Jim and being part of it is that how accessible he is. Besides for his 3 big security guards, they're not gonna bother you. You just come up to them and be like, hey, let me get a minute with Jim, and just shoot your shit, bro. That's the great thing about America is that, especially and social media. Even if you don't have a chance to see him here, you could get lucky. He might check his direct message, or he might have people checking his direct messages for him. So shoot him direct message, or come to places like this and shoot your shot, bro. If you don't, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So if you don't take the shot, you never know.
I mean, I would hate to take no for an answer. So me, I'm persistent.
And that's the only way you're gonna be successful in life, if you don't take no for an answer.
These expos are the perfect places for you to mix and mingle and network. Like I don't think it'd get no better inside of this industry right now than to being at these type of spots to get with the people or get with the companies that you feel that you could build a marriage with and things like that.
And again, you got to bring something to the table, though, right? Your product's got to be different, right? You got to be different. Something about you or your product's got to be different. For me to change, I had probably about, I don't know, as many people that make hardware in this expo have came over to us to try to get us to buy their product and switch over from my current product. But what's gonna make me do that? I'm comfortable with my product. I've been dealing with these guys for 2 years, man. I have a relationship with them. They might know my wife's name. They might know, what if I've been speaking to them, they're comfortable, they have a reliable product. They built that relationship with me, right? So what is it gonna be? What's gonna be the deciding factor that's gonna make me wanna change? Someone that I feel comfortable doing business with, that I've already established a relationship with. Imagine me doing business with this guy for 3 years, and then some guy that I just met came over here and offered me for 10 cents less a similar product, and then I'd be like, you know what, man? I don't want to do business with you, man, because this guy just gave me a product for 10 cents less. To me, I don't do business like that. You know, we do business on relationships, bro. And
sometimes relationships ain't everything, though. You could meet some guy you know 20 years, the guy you met one day would do better for you.
100%.
So, and
that's why you got to. That's why you got to be different, and you got to have a reason why there got to be a reason why I want to switch. If you come to me and you blow my mind off and be like, hey, look, I got this same. No, I'm not talking about you, man. I'm talking about everybody.
I can show you.
I'm talking about everyone
here. I can tell you.
But again, you got to be different, and you got to prevent yourself and show me something that's going to be different than what I'm already doing. And I gotta like you, right? Or there's gotta be some type of vibe. Business is not always about, dollars and cents. Not all money is good money. If I don't want to make money with you and we can't spend it together, I probably won't do business with you. So if I don't, as much as, if I didn't vibe with him and we couldn't go out and spend money and go shopping and chill and drink and smoke all day, we probably wouldn't be together and we wouldn't be as successful, because we vibe with each other, because it's organic. It's not like, oh, whatever it is. We go after this, we're gonna sit down, we're gonna smoke, and we're gonna chill, and we're gonna eat, and we're gonna dinner, and his wife's gonna call my wife, and he's at my kids' birthday parties, I'm gonna be at his birthday parties, and that's just organic and just the way it is, and just the way we do business. And if my friend's making boxes over there, and I can help him put my weed in his boxes, I'm gonna help him put my weed in his boxes. And if his boxes blow up, he's gonna hopefully put my weed in his boxes. And the whole thing about I think what's very important is not to have a crab in a barrel mentality, and for people to help each other. And when he said collaborations, I think it's very important not to have that crab in a barrel mentality. I'm not gonna sit up here and shit on cookies and shit on runs and shit on doses and shit on select, because if that's gonna happen, none of us are gonna get anywhere. We all gotta work together. My product's gonna be different than theirs. They're gonna have a different product than mine. And then it's gonna be up to you guys to decide where you wanna go. But if you guys are gonna come with us, we're gonna show you a quality product, and we're gonna do whatever we can do to make sure that you guys have a great experience when you go into the store. And when you follow us on Instagram, we wanna hopefully provide content that you wanna see. And when we drop music, we wanna hopefully have music that you wanna listen to. And when we make clothes, we wanna make clothes that you guys are gonna wear. And not to make money off the clothes, but for you guys to wear it to promote us like a billboard. Because we don't care about the clothes and the verticals, about all the verticals like the music. We're not looking to make money on that. We're looking to promote our company, and it's all about the branding and promoting. And I think that's what this whole conversation was about, right, bro?
Absolutely, and you guys crushed it. I want to thank you guys.
Thanks, guys.
Boom.
All right, thank you, brothers.
Thanks so much.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna make you pop your trunk.